think you have to go through all these different steps in order to be able to create the necessary wealth you need to give you the keys so you can retire early. And I'm here to tell you that, like, you don't have to do that at all. You can skip those phases. You can go straight to exactly the outcome that you want. And so from there, once I changed that narrative, all of a sudden, I got a different set of glasses. I can see the world differently. Once I changed those glasses of perception, man, did I see things differently. I see it from a space of, like, opportunities are everywhere to be able to be there.
Welcome to the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast, the ultimate destination for accredited investors and entrepreneurs seeking alternative wealth-building strategies. Discover how to fast-track your journey to wealth and time freedom by thinking outside the box. If you're ready to join the ranks of the Contrarian Capitalists and learn the most effective ways to reach your financial goals faster, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast.
Thank you once again for listening to another episode of the Contrarian Capitalist Podcast. I'm your host, your favorite silverback, Sylvania Harrod. And on today's episode, I'm going to teach you a little tip that I learned about perception versus perspective and why it is so important as an investor to know exactly how to handle it. So there's two key differences of things that I look at this, that, like, I want you to view perception as the sunglasses that you view life through. And perspective is going to be what you see on the other side of those sunglasses. So if you're walking around with sunglasses on at night, it's going to seem like it's very dark outside. You're like, man, I need to turn on some lights. I need some things to be able to be there. And so with me, being an engineer by nature, I like to figure out the different phases of the equation that's going to influence it. So that's why I always share with you and keep things real. So perspective is exactly how you view the world. Like, perspective is, so that's going to see, but your perception is going to be the thing that influences in your subconscious how you view the world. And hopefully my dyslexia didn't kick in and I reversed it, but I just want you to know, perspective, how you view the world, the things outside of the sunglasses, right? Perception is the things in your subconscious, the thoughts, the beliefs, the actions that helped curate how you view the world. So prime example goes, like, if you grew up in an environment that had natural predators, like my friends down in Florida, they do not go swimming in lakes. Bodies of water, you do not just go randomly go jump into like you do if you live in areas like up here in Virginia, or my friends that live up in Minnesota that have, like, lots of lakes and be able to be there. Because if you go do that in Florida, there's damn gators in that water, you know? So you see a body of water, my friends from Florida are like, man, if it's an ocean, yeah, you can kind of go in there because they're not being there. But if you see a still water in the lake and you're looking for, like, they know to look for bubbles and different things to go there because they're like, yeah, as a kid, we just don't randomly go there. And so what happens is that, like, it's like somebody who grows up on a farm versus somebody who grows up in a rough inner city neighborhood. When there's natural danger around you, you have a different level of how you view the world, because your perspective of the world may sound something like, it's dangerous outside. So keep your head on a swivel. You gotta be fully aware of the entire surroundings you're in, because you don't want to get caught in the crosshairs of being shot or being in the wrong neighborhood or driving down the wrong street because you're wearing the wrong colors. Versus if you grew up on a farm, clothes are just clothes. You go outside because you want to go outside. You don't even think twice about it, you know? So their perception may sound something like, it's safe to go outside, which shapes their perspective of, like, all right, I can go anywhere. So they can go to different towns, different neighborhoods. They don't even fathom the thought that there may be danger lurking in certain areas. So, like, if you look at those things, you can go like, damn, what are some other things that may show up, right? So I'll give you an example. I, as an African-American male in the States, have been pulled over 50 times in my lifetime. I've been driving for since I was 17, so 23 years. So typically twice a year I get pulled over. I have been pulled out of the car and had my car searched 5 times. So my perception of the world, when it comes to things it's all right, cool. Certain parts of town, I do not speed. If I get pulled over, I immediately get off all my devices. I roll down as many windows as possible, and I just wait there with my information before the guy even comes. I try to be as nice and as friendly as possible because the reality is I have witnessed people with different temperaments showing up to be able to be there. I have seen different people get be assaulted by police officers in different ways firsthand. So my perception of the world is that's like the Gators scenario that I'm talking about. This is a dangerous situation. Be as cool and as cordial as possible. Yes, sir. No, sir. Tell the truth. Don't do anything that happens to be there. And that's it. Which my perception is it's kind of dangerous to shape my perspective of this is how I'm showing up. This is how I'm viewing the world to be able to be there so that I don't appear to be a threat. Whereas my spouse, who's my vanilla wafer, they've never been pulled over. So she reacts completely different every single time it happens because her dad was a police officer. So she goes why are they pulling you over? You weren't speeding. You weren't doing anything to be able to be there. This is completely unacceptable. And I have to tell her hey, chill. No. And it goes on and on in different situations. And I can tell you numerous different examples because me and my wife come from 2 different cultural backgrounds. But let me tell you something about what happens as an investor, right? As an investor, if you really want to get to the place where you are understanding exactly what you want to do and figuring out exactly where you want to invest inside of, you first have to understand your perception of different assets or what it means to be an investor. You have to dig into what's in your subconscious to be able to be there because you will say no to opportunities that could be a yes if you understood your perception, which determines your perspective. So for me personally, the perception was that in order to become a real estate investor, I had to go through the process of buying homes, flipping homes. Once I get through that process, work my way up, get to multifamily, possibly stay there, maybe storage units, then go from there, start getting large commercial projects and go through there. It was a linear step process. So my perspective was that's the only way you can make it happen because of the information I was giving that shaped my perception. Well, here's the fact. The fact is you can start at any stage because every stage and phase of real estate has 3 key people. You have the capital person, you have the operator, the general contractor who's doing the work. So the operator is the person who's managing the general contractor and be able to do it. He may be the person who sources the deal. Person needs to source the deal. Sometimes the person sourcing the deal ends up being the capital person too, if they have money. But more than likely, no, they don't have it because they don't use their own money because you learned use other people's money. So there's 3 key people in the process. The person who finds the deal, person who sources the capital, person who does all the construction work as you scale and scale and scale. And if I held the perspective that I need to master every one of those elements before I was qualified enough to be a real estate investor, guess what happens? My perspective is only going to be shaped and I'm only going to see smaller things to be able to go there. The reality is that the more I understood my actual perception, right? I go hang on, homie. I really don't want to do all that work. I ain't trying to do that. I don't want anybody messaging me. I don't want anybody calling me because things happen to go wrong. I don't want, I want mailbox money, right? It's all I wanted. I wanted mailbox money. I want checks to show up, deposit into my account, and whatever it took for it to be able to get there, that's all on them. That was the reality for me. So once I understood that, I had to spend time learning about me and finding out what my natural nature is. And if you're listening to this, my fellow contrarians, I know you probably feel the same way. You think you have to go through all these different steps in order to be able to create the necessary wealth you need to give you the keys so you can retire early. And I'm here to tell you that like, you don't have to do that at all. You can skip those phases. You can go straight to exactly the outcome that you want. And so from there, once I changed that narrative, all of a sudden, the things I saw, I changed. I got a different set of glasses. I can see the world differently. Once I changed those glasses of perception, man, did I see things differently. I see it from a space of like, oh, these are opportunities are everywhere to be able to be there. Now I get to choose which ones I want to play into because I realize that like I am a person that's based on meaning. So like, while I know I can do fix and flips and be able to do things in certain areas that are remote that I don't ever see, there's also a percentage of me that wants to do things in my backyard because there's people that I know, community that I love, and I want to see them have the same opportunity and see that smile on their face so I can fund those projects locally to me. And I just create a delicate balance based upon my own desires. You start becoming the driver of the activities that you want to invest in rather than reacting to whatever you hear on social media telling you what you should be able to invest into. Creates a different experience. To all my audience members, all I really want you to do is be the hero of your own story, not the one of mine. I want to equip and enable people to move in the space of agency so they can do what they actually love to do. And I'm here to support you. So to land a plane, the key thing about the full 12 minutes that I've been telling you about is, I'll break it down really interesting without saying words that sound kind of confusing and conflicting at the same time. Audit your beliefs. Because your beliefs and the emotions you tie to them shape what you see in the world. And ask yourself, is my belief that I'm actually looking to go after mine, or does somebody else tell me? Because if you don't want to be in the nitty gritty of doing like real estate investing and going through that, don't do it. Maybe private debt is better for you. You know, like maybe that's much more fun for you because you realize like, cool. I just want to be like, here you go. Here's capital that you have there. Take this. Good to go. Go back to work. You love your job, but you just want to cut off 20 years it's going to take you to get to your magic number. Right? So you get to cut off. You get to move things out. You get to go there. And you can just collapse the time frame. And then now you have a magic FU button. Freedom unlocked. You can push it if you so choose to. Maybe you wake up one day, you're like, nah, play, I'm done. Or you may be like, cool, keep it moving to be able to be there. The common denominator is you. You get to choose. You get to access to freedom. And that's why I'm here to support you. So as always, you can find me across all social media platforms at my first name, Sylvania, last name, Harrod. I welcome all DMs, all comments, people posting on this. Like one person told me like the quality on YouTube seemed a little bit low. And then I realized I didn't press the setting to make it 1080p on recordings. I take feedback. Because here's what I realize. I'm on the spectrum of life, growth, and realizing that it's baby. Constant and never-ending improvement. So day by day, I chip away, I learn a new thing, I get educated, I get informed. And I only do that when there's communication back and forth between those platforms you're on and where you consume the content. So comment, be able to do things. Trolls are welcome too, because I can troll back. But I'm here to support you on your journey of the jungle of life. So as always, stay grateful, my friends. And until the next episode, cheers.